Save classifier to disk in Scikit-Learn. How do I save a train-naive Bayes classifier to disk and use it to predict data? I have the following sample program from the Scikit-Learn website.
Classifiers are just objects that can be pickled and dumped like any other. To continue your example,
you can also use joblib.dump and joblib.load, which is much more efficient at handling numerical arrays than the default Python pickler. Joblib is included in Scikit-Learn. Edit, in Python 3.8 plus it's now possible to use pickle for efficient pickling of object with large numerical arrays as attributes, if you use pickle protocol 5, which is not the default.
What you are looking for is called model persistence in Scikit-Learn words, and it is documented in introduction and in model persistence sections. So you have initialized your classifier and trained it for a long time with. After this you have two options. 1. Using pickle. 2. Using joblib. One more time, it is helpful to read the above-mentioned links.
In many cases, particularly with text classification, it is not enough just to store the classifier, but you'll need to store the vectorizer as well so that you can vectorize your input in future. Future use case. Before dumping the vectorizer, one can delete the stop_words_ property of vectorizer by to make dumping more efficient. Also, if your classifier parameters is sparse, as in most text classification examples, you can convert the parameters from dense to sparse, which will make a huge difference in terms of memory consumption, loading and dumping. Sparsify the model by, which will automatically work for std classifier, but in case you know your model is sparse, lots of zeros in clf_cof_, then you can manually convert clf_cof_ into a CSR SciPy sparse matrix by, and then you can store it more efficiently.
Scikit-Learn estimators implement methods to make it easy for you to save relevant trained properties of an estimator. Some estimators implement __get_state__ methods themselves, but others, like the GMM, just use the base implementation, which simply saves the objects in a dictionary. The recommended method to save your model to disk is to use the pickle module. However, you should save additional data so you can retrain your model in the future, or suffer dire consequences, such as being locked into an old version of Scikit-Learn. From the documentation. In order to rebuild a similar model with future versions of Scikit-Learn, additional metadata should be saved along the pickled model, the training data, e.g. a reference to a immutable snapshot, the Python source code used to generate the model, the versions of Scikit-Learn and its dependencies, the cross-validation score obtained on the training data. This is especially true for ensemble estimators that rely on the tree.pix module written in Python, such as isolation forest, since it creates a coupling to the implementation, which is not guaranteed to be stable between versions of Scikit-Learn. It has seen backwards incompatible changes in the past. If your models become very large and loading becomes a nuisance, you can also use the more efficient joblib. From the documentation. In the specific case of the scikit, it may be more interesting to use joblib's replacement of pickle, joblib.dump and amp, joblib.load, which is more efficient on objects that carry large number py arrays internally, as is often the case for fitted scikit-learn estimators, but can only pickle to the disk and not to a string.
Do you want to support channel? Just slide in this equipment.